So good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning into today's class. Whenever I start talking about philosophy, I always am like, how do I start this conversation? How do we dive in there? Much like when there's politics at a family dinner, it's like, oh, how do we get into it? Except in a good way. So I'll just start with the phrase for today, starting where you are. I think that can be the most liberating phrase ever. Whenever you're about to start a new experience, your yoga practice in the morning, like we've just woken up if you're in Australia, whenever you're about to start something, I think the most freeing thing to do is to simply say to yourself, start where I am. Can you start where you are? And acknowledge where you are, psychologically, physically, and just start from that place. I think sometimes, when we are about to do a yoga practice, we sometimes feel the pressure of like, oh, I have to feel like doing yoga. I have to feel happy or at peace or joyful. And that's not the case at all. You simply need to start where you are. And some days we feel happy, and some days we feel sad, and some days we feel really excited and energized and ready to do yoga, and then other days we don't feel like that at all. And so it's just really important to start where we're starting from. We just have to start where we are. And that involves acceptance. It involves accepting who you are in this moment. Whether you feel happy or sad, excited or bored, passionate or totally disengaged. Can you accept yourself as you are in this moment? And once you do that, it just makes things a little bit easier. And I make it a little bit funny, but this morning I woke up and I was like, fuck, I don't want to do yoga. Like, the last thing I kind of want to do is open my computer and do yoga with all of you. Well, I love all of you. I love seeing all of you. You can see how happy I am to speak with all of you. This gives me a lot of joy. But, initially, there's that kind of threshold where you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to do this. And, I feel a bit tired and a little bit run down. And initially I was like, oh, I just don't think about that, Duncan. Just push it away. Once you get into it, you'll be good. But this morning I was like, you know what? I'm just going to accept that. I'm going to accept that I'm feeling a little bit tired, a little bit run down. I'm feeling maybe a little bit disengaged. And that acceptance brings a certain level of peace. It's like, oh, yeah, that's a totally normal human experience. Can I accept myself as I am in this moment? Start from where I am and go from there. And it was nice. I had a really nice morning, actually. As soon as I got over that kind of initial bump in the road, it was like, oh, it's okay to have a bump in the road. I'm going to accept this bump. Total normal experience. And I think, whenever we go through a challenge in our life and we go to someone with the challenge and we're like, oh, I'm feeling like frustrated or sad. As a child, I always remember going to my mom, like bawling my eyes out. And she would always just sit down with me and be like, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Like total acceptance of what I was going through, not deeming it right or wrong, just like, I'm here for you. I'll listen to you. And so sometimes when I'm going through a challenging experience, I do the same thing to myself. I self-parent myself. And I just say to myself, oh, Duncan, I'm here for you. That complete acceptance of what's going on and letting go of any need to judge it or criticize it. So today's theme is to start where you are, and you don't always have to feel amazing. And if you do feel amazing, great, let's start there. And you can practice that through the affirmation of just saying to yourself, I'm here for you. I accept myself as I am today. We're gonna work on our hammies again today. I know we did a sweet hammy flow, I think like 10 days ago or so. And today we're gonna work on hamstring strength. In lots of vinyasa classes, we tend to do a lot of forward folding, a lot of forward bending. So we tend to put the hamstrings on stretch quite a bit. It's kind of the beauty of vinyasa. We do a lot of forward folding. It's a very symbolic of humility to forward fold and bow to someone or something, very symbolic of humility. So I love forward folding. But today we're going to try to balance that with a little bit more of back bending. And when we back bend, we engage the hamstrings a bit more. So we're going to start class a little bit differently today, and that will kind of begin with a bit more back bending, which if you've been doing my classes the last couple of weeks is great, because the last couple of days we've been doing a lot of twisting. I'm not sure if any of you have known that, and twisting really prepares the spine well for back bending. Come to your mat, we'll get started. All right, and once you're on your mat, come to a comfortable seat. And close your eyes. Okay, and once your eyes are closed, can you accept yourself as you are in this moment? If you feel super excited and ready to do yoga, you're ready to change your physical body and mental attitude, then great. If you're feeling a little tired or sleepy, can you accept that? Maybe if you're feeling a little emotional, can you accept that? Just taking a moment to accept yourself as you are in this moment. Take 3 more deep breaths. Please bring your hands to your heart center, palm to palm. Can the yoga practice teach us to start where we are? Instead of forcing ourselves to be something different in order to start, can we accept ourselves as we are in this moment and allow that to be the starting place? Gently blink the eyes open. If you have 2 blocks, grab them. If you don't have 2 blocks, don't worry about it. Hands on the ground, step your left foot forward. Take your right knee back behind, so we're coming into a low lunge. I think I should start selling props. And then it could be like another way of making money. I should invent all these really weird props that I use in every class, and then people can only do the class if they buy my props, and then I'll become a millionaire. And I'll live in a really fancy house. And then the next time you do this Zoom class with me, you'll be like, whoa, Duncan lives in a really expensive house. I wonder what he's doing with all that money we're giving him. Focus your eyes on one spot. There's some really interesting stories about yoga teachers who've gotten really, really wealthy. I'm sure most of you have heard of Osho, very quoted yoga teacher. Well, he's not a yoga teacher, Indian spiritual man from India. Beautiful writer, but he started a cult in the US. There's a documentary on it on Netflix called Wild Wild West, I believe, or something like that. But after that cult fell apart, his original name I think was Rajneesh Bhagavan or something. And after that cult fell apart, he rebranded as Osho. But I think he had like something like 12 Rolls Royces or something, just something crazy. So yeah, maybe I won't make my own props. Maybe I'll just, accept where I am, and maybe I'm satisfied with this amount of wealth. I definitely don't want to fall into the trap of creating a cult. Okay, sorry for the rambles. Take 3 more breaths. Let your pelvis shift forward and down. Lift your chest up. 2 more breaths. Focus on your breathing. Okay, 1 more deep inhale. And a full exhale. Awesome. Tuck your back toes and please lift your back knee up off the floor. So again, if you don't have blocks, totally fine. Just have your hands, your fingertips on the ground. Press your back thigh vigorously up to the sky so there's a bit more power through your back leg. Bend vigorously into your front knee. Reach the center of your chest forward so you're elongating your spine. There's incredible length. Draw the shoulders down the back. We'll just stay for another 4 breaths. So deep inhale. Full exhale. And keep that quality and depth to your breath going. And just bring a little more attention to the workings of your back leg. So can you wrap your inner right thigh? So the inseam of your yoga tights in the right leg, turn the inseam, your inner right thigh up. So you're internally rotating your right leg just a little. Don't overdo it. And as the inner right thigh wraps up, it just prevents the leg from externally rotating. And it can take us a little deeper into some of our hip flexors that for most of us can generally be quite tight. And often an indicator when, the psoas, the iliopsoas system is tight, the leg tends to go a little more into external rotation when the hip is placed in extension. So I'd like you to do a little bit more internal rotation in the back leg. And keep that, and now press the right thigh up a little higher if you can. Keep reaching the center of the chest forward. And then the final shebang for that iliopsoas system on the right side is to hug that back thigh in towards the midline. The right thigh hugs in towards the left. Keep reaching the center of the chest forward. Take 1 more inhale. Full exhale. Well done. Switch sides. Step your right foot forward. Drop your left knee down. Can you let the pelvis shift forward and down? Let your chest open up. Sometimes when I feel like this, a little more, let's say, disenchanted with the yoga practice in the morning, I like to start slow. And that process of doing something slowly for me is kind of an embodiment of acceptance. You just accept it for what it is. It gives you a bit of more time to digest it. Can you let your pelvis soften forward and down? It's also just great for the physiological body, like the muscular system, sometimes takes a bit of time to adapt to a shape, to change. And sometimes in Vinyasa we can move quite fast. So it's nice to slow it down, give the body a bit of time to get used to what's going on. Take 3 more deep breaths, deep inhale. Full exhale. 2. And 1 last deep breath in. And out. And tuck your back toes. Lift your back thigh up off the ground. Press it up towards the sky. Keep the bend in your right knee. Keep pressing that left thigh high, high, high. Elongate the center of your chest forward. Lengthen the center of the chest forward. Find length in your spine. And just to create a little bit of a boundary today, try not to let your pelvis go lower than your right knee. So your front knee. So try to keep your pelvis at right knee height, because some of us can have the tendency to go a little too deep. So let's create a boundary of keeping the pelvis at knee height, approximately. And then bring your attention to your back thigh and turn the inner left thigh up to the ceiling. And it will kind of feel like your left hip turns down a little. And then just do that gently, like you can totally overdo it. So it's very subtle. The inner left thigh turns up. And if you're like me, I feel, different muscles begin to turn on and it's like, whoa, baby, that feels good. And now keeping that inner left thigh wrapping up, press your whole left thigh, the entire femur, up towards the ceiling a bit more. Then recommit to elongating the chest more forward. And then squeeze your inner thighs to the midline. Hug the outer left thigh and shin towards the left. Keep reaching your chest forward. Keep pressing that left thigh up, 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 up. And then breathe. Okay, one more deep inhale. Okay, exhale, drop the back knee down. If you had your blocks, put them off to the side. Hands underneath your shoulders. Come back to plank pose. Shoulders are over your wrists. Reach the center of your chest forward. Deep breath in. Steady breath out. You have your shoulders right over your wrists, the center of your chest reaching forward. The back of your head level with your spine. The lower ribs pulling in. Tops of the thighs pressing up. Slow, steady breath in. Slow, steady breath out. And 5 more breaths. And can you accept this pose for what it is? It's a plank pose. And some days it will challenge our shoulders and our core a little bit more. 2 more breaths. And please take your knees down towards the ground. Inhale, look forward, tilt the sit bones up, open your chest towards the front of the room. Exhale, round through the back, scoop your tail, push the floor away. Push, push with your hands, really round the upper back. Look towards your belly button. Really protract your shoulder blades. Inhale, look forward, tilt your sit bones up, open your chest to the front. Exhale, push the hands and knees down, really round the spine, scoop your belly in, look towards the navel. One more time. Inhale, look forward, tilt your sit bones up, think back bend, draw your shoulder blades together, reach the center of your chest forward, pull the hands back against the mat, pull your knees forward against the mat, bring your breastbone forward. And then exhale, drive the hands and knees down, round through your back. Had some chili last night. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Then inhale, come back to center. Good. Plank pose. Take a full breath in plank. Exhale all the way to your belly. Well done. Stack your hands in front of you. Place your forehead on your hands. Roll your inner thighs up towards the sky. And as your inner thighs roll up, it will kind of feel like your butt gets a little perky. So can you balance that by pressing your pubic bone down? So your butt is less perky. Pubic bone, where your genitals are, presses into the floor. Inner thighs stay rolling up. And then slowly lift your legs up off the floor. Can you straighten the knees? Lift the thighs up.
Good. Keep your forehead on your hands. Just lift your forehead and your hands and your forearms up off the ground. Good. Keep lifting those legs. Keep rolling the inner thighs up. Keep the backs of the knees straight. Keep looking down. Your forehead is on your hands, but your arms and your hands are off the ground. Lift your chest up. Lift your legs up. Good. Can you keep all of that? Reach both hands straight forward. Turn your palms to face each other. Lift those arms up. So I want you to focus a little more on your arms. Lift those arms up. Try to get those arms level with your ears. Try to lift those legs up. Keep the pubic bone pressing down. Take one more inhale. Listen carefully. Keep everything as it is. Just reach both hands straight back behind you. Interlace your hands together. Inhale, lift your chest. Good. Exhale, bend your knees. With your knees bent, try to keep your feet hip distance wide. Flex your feet so the bottoms of the feet face the ceiling. Then try to lift your knees and your thighs higher off the ground, keeping your knees hip width. Lift your chest, lift your arms. Take one more full inhale, lift. Good. Exhale, release. Place your hands on the ground. Come onto your hands and knees. And then please come right onto your back. Butt comes down to the floor and lie onto your back. Bring your heels close towards your butt. Feet are hip distance wide. Press your feet down into the ground. Lift your pelvis up. And maybe hold the edges of your mat. Roll your shoulders under. Now, once you're holding the edges of your mat, try to pull your hands away from one another, like you're trying to pull your mat apart, tear your mat in half. So pull the hands outwards against the mat, push the shoulders down, lift the chest up, keep your knees hip distance wide, roll your inner thighs down, and then lengthen your tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Breathe into your belly. Breathe into your ribs. Breathe into your chest. So it's a very expansive pose. Okay, 3 more deep breaths. Keep pushing the entirety of the foot down. All 10 toes push into the floor. Inner arches of the feet lift. 2 more breaths. Shoulders press down, chest lifts up. Keep your chin neutral. 1 more full inhale. Complete exhale. And slowly roll your spine, bone by bone, back down to the ground. Release the hands. And hug your right knee in towards your chest. Lengthen your left leg straight forward. Give your right knee a nice big squeeze. Take a deep inhale. Full exhale. And switch sides. Hug your left knee in, right leg lengthen straight forward. Take a deep inhale. And a full exhale. Good. Both feet on the ground, back to bridge. Press your feet down into the floor. Slowly lift the pelvis up. Keep your feet, your knees, hip distance wide. Press the shoulders down. Lift the chest up. This time, interlace your hands together. If that doesn't work for your shoulders, then you can keep holding the edge of your mat. Push the entirety of your arms down against the floor. Push your shoulders down against the ground. Lift the chest up. Keep your feet hip distance wide, knees hip distance wide. Roll the inner thighs down. Lengthen the tailbone forward. Take 1 more full inhale. Complete exhale. And slowly roll your spine, bone by bone, back down towards the ground. Hug your right knee in. Lengthen your left leg forward. Actively push your left heel forward. Roll your inner left thigh down. So we're still getting into that iliopsoas.
the left inner thigh turns down to the floor. It internally rotates the leg. Okay. And switch sides. Hug your left knee in. Give your left knee a big squeeze. Push the right heel forward. Internally rotate that right thigh. The inner right thigh turns down as you push the right thigh forward. Take one more inhale. Full exhale. And both feet to the ground. Hands down beside your hips. Press into your feet. Lift the pelvis up. Yeah, our hamstrings are working today. As you push your feet down into the ground, just one additional cue. Imagine as if you're trying to drag your heels towards your butt. And if you do that, you might feel your hamstrings turn on a little more. Push your feet down, but also imagine as if you're trying to drag your heels towards your butt. Good. Now push your shoulders down, lift your chest. Option to stay here, or take your hands up beside your ears and come onto the top of your head. Good. Then pause, and then see if you can lift your head 1 millimeter off the ground. Just 1 millimeter off the ground. Okay. If you're not doing that, stay in bridge. Push the feet down. Try to drag the heels towards your butt. It's a little trickier if you're hovering your head. Hug your elbows in, push the hands down. Your head stays 1 millimeter off the ground, or you're staying in bridge. Take one more inhale. Good. Exhale, release, slowly come all the way back down. Take your feet mat distance wide, let your knees knock together. Place your hands on your belly. Take a full inhale. Full exhale. Okay, we will do more vinyasa. Don't worry, it's coming. But for now, we work on our back bends. Hands down beside your hips, or hands up beside your ears. Okay. Moving nice and slow. Inhale, pelvis lifts. Stay here. Or come towards the top of your head. Pause. Hug your elbows in. And hover your head 1 millimeter off the ground if you can. And then slowly straighten your arms. Come to full Urdhva Dhanurasana. Take a steady breath into your body. Steady breath out. 4 more breaths. Wherever you are, focus on your breathing. 3, 2. Push the hands and the feet, the arms down into the ground, whether you're in bridge or Urdhva Dhanurasana. Good. And then slowly roll your spine, bone by bone, back down to the ground. Take a moment to pause. Take your feet mat distance wide, knees to come together. Reach both hands up towards the sky. Take your left hand around the top of your right hand and pull it down so that you release the front of the wrist joint. And do the other side. Grab onto the left hand, pull it down. And then bring both hands up. Extend through the wrist so your palms face the ceiling. Grab your right fingertips, pull them back towards your right shoulder. Good. And then switch. Grab your left fingertips, pull them back. Good. And then take both hands up, make them into tight fists. Just do a few little wrist rolls. Then go in the opposite direction. Okay, set yourself up. Last back bend for now. Hands down beside your hips. Lift the pelvis up, bridge. Option to stay here or place your hands up beside your ears. Slowly come towards the top of your head, if that's where you're going. And hover the head, and then slowly straighten the arms. Keep rolling the inner thighs down. Push the hands and feet into the floor. Take 5 more breaths wherever you are. Deep inhale. Full exhale. 4 more breaths. 3, 2. Okay, 1 last deep breath in. Good job. And then exhale, slowly roll your spine bone by bone down to the ground. Awesome. Place your right ankle on your left thigh. hug your left leg in for thread the needle, So glutes and our hamstrings help us with our back bending. And yesterday we did quite a bit of hamstring and glute work, if you did the Intenso class. And if our glutes are really tight, it can prevent us from forward folding. And if our glutes are really tight and we're having a hard time forward folding, it can put a little bit more, it can ask more of the spine. So doing a bit of glute stretches before you start forward folding can free up your spine a little bit more. And also after yesterday's Intenso class, it's just a bit nice to do a thread the needle. Okay, switch sides. Interlace your hands around your right knee, pull that knee in. Take 3 more breaths. Two, breathe deeply. And 1 last breath. And slowly release. Take both knees so they're over your hips. Shins parallel to the floor. Interlace your hands behind your head. Take your head and shoulders up off the ground. Hug the elbows in. Get the shoulder blades up. Good. And then bring your knees just a little bit more forward in space. So they're no longer directly over the hips. They're just a little bit forward of the hips. Can you get your shoulder blades a little bit higher? Good. And then twist your chest a little to the right. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right thigh. Left hand to the outside of your right thigh. So you twist to the right. Good. Press your left hand against the right thigh. Press your right thigh against your left hand. Can you lift up a little bit taller and twist a little more? Get your right shoulder blade off the ground. Good. Come back to center. Shoulder blades on the floor for a moment. And then exhale, shoulder blades off the ground and twist to the left. Twist your chest and your torso to the left. Keep your legs fixed. Bring your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Twist, get the shoulder blades up. Press the right hand against the left thigh. Press the left thigh out against the right arm. Can you get the left shoulder blade off the ground? Come on, left shoulder blade up. Twist. And come back to center. Keep the shoulder blades up, 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 up. And then release. Hug both knees in. Well done. Rock yourself all the way up. Come onto your hands and knees. All right, let's get flowing. Downward dog pose. Send your butt back and up. Doesn't it feel weird to do like back bending series before you even do a downward facing dog pose? It's nice to mix it up a bit. Keep it spicy. Press strongly through the inner hands. Drive the tops of the thighs back and up. Lift the inner arches of the feet. 3 slow, steady breaths. 2. And 1 last deep inhale. Full exhale. Come forward to plank pose. Inhale, chest forward, heart forward. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward dog or cobra pose. Inhale, lift the thighs, chest opens. Downward facing dog pose, full exhale. Take a steady breath in. And a steady breath out. 2 more breaths, just like that. Push the hands forward and down. Keep your skull right between your ears. Keep your butt perky, nice and high. And please step your right foot forward between your hands. Spin your back heel flat for warrior 1. Inhale, reach both hands up. Excuse me. Bend into your right knee. And then just let your torso and your chest open about 10 degrees to the left. So you're in warrior 1.5 if you've done that class with me. Instead of squaring your hips and your chest to face directly forward, you turn your chest and your hips just about 10 to 15 degrees to the left. So it should feel a little bit easier on your hips. Find a bit more depth in the legs. Roll the inner left thigh back and up. Push down through that back foot. Stretch the arms up. Pull the front low ribs in. Take one more full inhale. Good. Exhale, take your hands behind you. Interlace the hands together. Inhale, open and broaden across the chest. And then exhale, bring your right side of the torso to your right thigh and just let your arms come overhead as you look down towards the floor. Take a deep inhale into your body. So the right side of your torso is touching your right thigh. There's a bit of support there. Arms are coming overhead. Good. Hands come to the ground. Inhale, elongate the chest forward, lift your back heel. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Spin the back heel flat. Inhale, warrior one. Okay, and then warrior 1.5. Turn your hips and your chest to the right, about 10 to 15 degrees. So you're not squaring everything to the front, you're turning a little bit to the right. And then go a little bit lower in the legs if you can. Lift up through the torso, anchor down through your back foot. Try to drop the tailbone down, drawing the front ribs in. Stretch the arms up. Take 3 more breaths. Can you breathe expansively into the ribs and chest? 2. Okay, one last full inhale. Hands come behind you. Interlace your hands together. Broaden across your chest. Full inhale. Exhale, bring the left side of your torso towards your left thigh. And then let your arms come overhead. Let your head release towards the floor. Take a deep breath into your body. Full breath out. Okay, one more deep inhale. Full exhale. And both hands come to the ground. Lift your back heel. Inhale, runner's lunge, chest forward. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a steady breath in. And a steady breath out. Drop both of your knees down towards the ground. Grab a block if you have one. Come onto your elbows and forearms. We're taking Pincha Mayurasana or Dolphin pose. If you don't have a block, just hands on the ground. If your shoulders are really tight, I recommend just interlacing your hands together. Tuck your toes, lift your knees off the ground. Walk your feet in and step your feet together. Now lift your right leg up. Stay here. Right? If you're just working your upper body strength today, just stay here. Otherwise, look between your forearms and kick up. Hold for 5. Can you keep your breath steady? 4, breathe. Push the elbows and forearms down. 3, if you're still on the ground, that's fine. Just lift that right leg up nice and high. 2, regardless of where you are, you're driving those elbows and forearms down. Okay, one last deep inhale. Good. Exhale, come down. Come onto your hands and knees. Table pose. Inhale, left arm up towards the sky. Exhale, thread your left arm underneath your right arm, come into a twist. Tense your right hand on the ground like it's a huntsman spider. Push your right hand down to thread your left arm underneath you more. Good. Option to stay here with your right hand on the ground or reach it up to the sky around your lower back to your left inner thigh. Okay, take 2 more breaths. Deep inhale. Full exhale.
One more deep breath in and out. Come back to center, table pose. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, twist. Come down onto your right cheek. Come onto your left fingertips. Push the left hand down. Tuck your right shoulder under a little bit more. Stay here or reach that left hand up around your lower back to your right inner thigh. 2 more deep breaths. Deep inhale. Full exhale. 1 more deep breath in and out. And please come back to center. Dolphin pose one last time, or Pinchamayurasana. Elbows are on the ground. Tuck your toes, lift your knees. Walk your feet in, please. Lift your left leg up to the sky. Stay here. You can always stay here. Or kick up, pincha. Can you stay for 5 breaths? Breathing deeply, breathing slowly. 4 more breaths. 3. Try to stay with it. 2. Good. 1 last breath in. Come all the way down. Put the block to the side. Downward facing dog pose. Take a deep breath in downward dog. Full breath out. Okay. Walk your hands all the way towards your feet. Come to the back of your mat. Heel toe, your feet a little bit wider than hip width. Bend your knees, come down into a squat, Malasana. Bring your palms together. Lift the center of the chest up. Can you elongate through the spine? Slow breath in and steady breath out. An option to stay here or plant your hands against the ground. Come into Bakasana. Knees come onto your upper triceps. Look forward, lean forward, lift 1 or both feet. Try to hold for 5 breaths. Stay with it. 5 breaths. If you can, try to straighten your arms more. 4. Breathe. Lift those heels to your butt. Heels to butt. 2. Try to straighten those arms. Lift the heels up. Heels to your butt. 1. Feet come down. Forward fold over your legs. Take your feet so they're hip distance wide. Take your middle and index fingers around your big toes. Inhale, chest forward, elongate your spine. Exhale, bend your elbows out to either side. Fold over your legs. Take a deep inhale into your body. Full exhale. Deep breath in. Full breath out. 3 more breaths. 2. Press the big toes down into the fingers. Lift the inner arches of the feet. Try to hinge a little more deeply from the hips. 1 last deep inhale. Full exhale. Inhale, halfway lift, chest forward. Exhale, hands underneath your feet. Bring your toes all the way up to your wrist creases. Then see if you can begin to bend the elbows back to your shins. Hinge from your hips, belly to your thighs, let your head drop. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Keep pressing the balls of the feet down into the meaty part of the palms. 3 more breaths. 2. 1 last deep breath in. Exhale, release your hands. Walk your hands all the way forward. Forward, forward, forward to downward facing dog. Step your feet together and walk your feet 1 foot closer to your hands. Come onto your tippy toes. Shift your shoulders so they're right above your wrists. Option 1, you stay here. If you need to use the wall quickly, scooch to the wall.
10 hops. Maybe you get stuck in a handstand. Bend your knees, try to hop up. 9 more breaths or 9 more hops, or you just hold that shape for 9 more breaths. 8, keep pushing the floor away. If you can, try to hold your handstand. 7, breathe. 6, push, push, push. 5, lower ribs pull in, tailbone up. 3, 2, hey, 1 more. And then step or land your feet up at the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Hands all the way up towards the sky. Deep inhale, reach up. Hands to your heart. And Surya Namaskar B, bend your knees. Sit your bum, Utkatasana, inhale. Fold over your legs, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Step or jump, chaturanga, exhale. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pivot your left foot 45 degrees, step your right foot forward. Warrior 1, inhale. Exhale, hands come all the way back down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pivot the right foot, step your left foot forward. Inhale, warrior 1. Exhale, hands come all the way back down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Take a steady breath in and a steady breath out. 2 more breaths just like that. Ready, inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale all the way to your belly. Inhale, lift your chest. I'd bring both hands straight back. Lift your thighs up off the ground. Lift your chest up off the floor. Lift your arms up off the ground. Keep looking down across your cheeks. Take a steady breath in. Steady breath out. Keep your legs where they are. Reach both arms overhead. Oh. Can you get those biceps level with your ears? Turn the palms up. So I want you to work on external rotation of the arms. Turn the inner biceps up. Try to get those biceps level with your ears. Lift those arms up. Good, 1 more inhale. Lift the arms, lift the legs, lift it all up. Good, exhale, release, hands back. Left cheek on the ground, rest. Turn your head the other way. And then bend your knees, reach back, grab onto your feetsies. If you can't grab your feet or your ankles for any reason today, don't worry about it. You don't have to grab your feet. Just stay with Shalabhasana. Reach both hands back. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your legs. Regardless of where you are, can you lift your chest and your thighs up? Keep your knees hip distance wide. Breathe, 5 breaths. 4, press those legs and those feet up to the sky. Up, up, up. 3, on your inhales, try to lift higher. On your exhale, hold. 2, good job, 1 more breath. Lift the thighs, lift the chest, lift it all up. And then exhale, release. Good, push up onto your hands and knees. Good, come onto your bum. Lie back down onto your back. Bend your knees so your heels are close to your bum. Push your feet down, lift your pelvis up, bridge pose. Keep your knees hip distance wide. Roll your inner thighs down. Stay here or take your hands up beside your ears. Maybe come to the top of your head. Maybe press all the way up. Hey, if this is just feeling like a bit much for you today, don't worry about it. Accept yourself as you are today and stay with bridge pose. You can still build a lot of amazing strength in bridge. 3 more breaths. Push the hands and feet down. Lift everything up. 2, breathe. And 1 last deep inhale. Exhale, come all the way down to the ground. Take a moment to rest. Hands on your belly, knees knock knee together. Back bends, eh? Some days you can love them and some days you can hate them. And some days you're in the middle. So, accept yourself as you are today. If back bends are a bit of a struggle for you, just stay with bridge. You can still build a lot of good glute and back extensor strength in bridge pose, okay? Accept your body as it is today. No need to force it to be something that it may not be. Hands down beside the hips or hands up beside the ears. We're going to do 2 more back bends and then we're done. Lift your pelvis up. Maybe come to the top of the head if that's where you're going, and then push up towards the sky. Slow, steady breath in. Slow, steady breath out. 4 more breaths. Keep the inner thighs rolling down. The knees stay hip width. 2 more breaths. Tailbone lengthens forward to the backs of the knees. The hands and the feet push down to lift everything up. Slowly roll your spine, bone by bone, back down towards the ground. Take a moment to pause. All right, we're almost there. I'm proud of all of you. It's been a few back bends this morning. So for those of you who are loving it, high five. For those of you who are not loving it so much, I give you a hug. Hands down beside your hips or hands up beside your ears. Last back bend. Here we go. Lift your pelvis up. Option to just stay here and bridge or come to the top of your head. Press yourself all the way up. 5 breaths. Breathe. Focus on your breathing. Back bending is about a lot of things. One of the big ones, your breath. Breathe into your heart. Breathe into your rib cage. Breathe into your belly. 3 more breaths. 2. Good. 1 last breath. Lift everything up. Good. And then slowly roll your spine bone by bone down towards the ground. Feet mat distance wide. Let your knees come together. Take a moment to pause. Can you accept yourself as you are? Please interlace your hands behind your head. Bring your knees so they're over your hips. Shins parallel to the floor. Lift your head and your shoulder blades off the ground, and then just take a moment to pause. Hug your forearms into the sides of your temple so your skull is totally supported by your arms. Lift your shoulder blades up. Move your knees a little more forward of the hips until you feel your belly and your core begin to just engage a little more. Try to keep your lower back pressing down towards the floor. Take 1 more full inhale and full exhale. Lift up, lift up, lift up. Good. And then release, feet down, head down. Take a deep breath in. Full breath out. Okay, 1 more time. Knees over your hips, shins parallel to the floor. Lift your head and shoulders off the ground, lift up. Head and shoulders off the ground, lift up. Bring your knees a little bit forward of the hips. Good. And just until you hit a point where you feel like the abdomen is toning, but it's not too hard. Okay? It's manageable. And
Try to keep your lower back against the ground. Lift up, shoulder blades up, and then release. Head down, feet down. Good. And then rock yourself up to a seated position. Spread your legs. Upavishta. Start with your hands behind you, please. So your legs are spread wide, hands behind you, and inhale, sit really tall through the spine. So you're almost trying to find a little bit of neutralness through your spine rather than back bending or collapsing into a forward bend, just sitting nice and tall. Broadening across the collarbones and the chest. The skull's right on top of your spine. The sit bones press into the floor to lift the whole spine upwards. Close your eyes, keep your hands behind you. If you have really long arms, just bend your elbows a little bit so the chest can stay high. And with your eyes closed, take 2 more breaths here, just sitting tall. Good, then please bring both legs in front of you. Bend your right knee. Cross it over your left leg. Option to keep the left foot out in front or tuck it back. Take your right hand behind you. Inhale, reach your left arm up. And exhale, hug the knee. So I'd just like you to hug the knee today with the left arm. Inhale, sit taller. And exhale, just gently turn your head to twist to look back. So it's a bit more of a gentle twist. We're using less leverage just to honor the spine after all those back bends, doing a gentler twist. Take 2 more deep, slow breaths. And then come back through center. Switch sides. Left leg crosses over the right leg. Left hand comes behind you. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, hug your left knee. Inhale, sit incredibly tall. Exhale, just a gentle twist. Three more breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale, twisting. Can you be gentle with yourself? I feel like for the most part, acceptance requires gentleness. And then come back through center. Well done. Please bring both legs straight out in front of you. Inhale, both hands up to the sky. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Paschimottanasana. We'll take 5 more deep breaths here. With each exhale, can you relax a little bit more? So let one part of your body just soften a little more. Deep breath in. Exhale, can you soften, relax, be gentle. Slowly come all the way up. Please lie down onto your back. Hug your right knee into your chest. Give it a final big squeeze in.
Take that right knee, cross it over towards the left, coming into a twist. Look over your right arm. Take a deep inhale. Full exhale. Bring the knee back to center. Release. Hug your left leg in. Give it a big squeeze. Drop it over towards the right. Twist. Look over your left arm. Take a deep inhale. Full exhale. Come back to center. Center your pelvis. Take Savasana, corpse pose. Can you let your jaw open a little so your tongue relaxes? Can you let all the muscles in your face soften? The belly relaxes. The hands and feet release. Please take a deep inhale. Full exhale. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take your arms up overhead. Give your body a big stretch. Bend your knees. Roll onto your right hand side. Gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Please bring your hands together in front of your chest. Palms touching, eyes closed. Can you start where you are? Letting go of any need to forcing yourself to be different. Accepting yourself as you are in this moment with gentleness. Namaste.